Do you feel as if you have to see things before you can believe them? Or are you open to believing them before you see them? Hi, my name is Karina and this is Life Inside and Out with Karina, and welcome to this channel. Whether you're new or have been here before, I appreciate you for being here. If you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, like and comment. Ask me questions in the comment section under this video or send me a message. Also, if you're interested in some more tools, early access to these videos, and just to come and have fun and learn more about yourself and life, then check out my Patreon. The link is in the description box below. So, do you feel like you have to see things before you can believe them, or do you believe things before you see them? This is a very important question, and I will tell you a little bit about why. If you think about it, in our society today, we are very much in a mental state, in a mindset that we have to see things before we believe them. I think that's because we spend so much time in survival mode. Almost all of us spend almost all of our time in survival mode. And when we're in survival mode, some of our natural functions are shut off, because that is a natural function too. When we're in survival mode, some of the communication in our heart, in our minds, are turned off. We don't have full access to our logical thinking. Our heart puts up this energetic wall of protection to stay safe. And the communication between our heart's intelligence, we have like brain cells in our hearts, and neural pathways going from our hearts to our minds, and that communication is also partly shut off. And the more time we spend in this survival mode, the more it's shut off, and we truly don't have access to all the knowledge and understanding that we actually have. Excuse me, this question that I asked is, I have to ask this question because we spend so much time in survival mode, I believe, because we trust science so much, and we don't believe it until we see it. And that's just not really true, is it? Because nobody would do science, nobody would do research, nobody would do studies, nobody would look deeper into things if there wasn't some part of someone who believed it before it could be seen. And if you look around you, how many of the things that you can see in the room you're sitting in right now do you think was seen before it was believed? Now, a few things that we use in our daily lives are definitely invented for something else and then began to be used for something different. So it was seen before it was believed, in a way. But again, for someone to actually try this thing on this other thing, there has had to be a thought that would work, right? In this room where I'm sitting, in my office, in my home, there's nothing here, absolutely nothing here that was believed, that was seen before it was believed. Everything that is not created naturally by nature itself is believed before it is seen. Everything. And yet, here we are, in our society today thinking, living as if we have to see it before we can believe it. Isn't that just crazy? So how does that affect us? Well, it affects us because when we believe things before we see them, we have trust. And when we have trust, we open up this wall around our hearts, the protective wall that I mentioned. And we open up the communication a little bit. When we trust, we step away just a little bit at a time from survival mode. And when we step away from survival mode, we open up the communication within our brain and within our physical bodies. And we can function as we function naturally. When we have to see things before we believe them, we have no trust, we show no trust. And that moves us further into survival mode. It makes the communication shut off even more. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important because we are naturally created. In whichever way you believe humans are created, it's perfectly fine. You believe what you want to believe. Nobody has to believe the same as you believe, and you don't have to believe the same as anybody else believes. So what does it do to us when we're in survival mode, when we have to see before we believe? Well, we get kind of more and more scared of things. We live in fear of things. That's why we have to see it before we believe it, because we're fearful. What if this is not true? When I've been doing this for the last, doing this inner work has to come with an open mind. It has to come with an open heart. It has to come with some kind of trust that I have an understanding about myself and about life that science hasn't proved yet. And the thing about science also is that because we have to see it before we believe it, even with science at one point, because science. Let's talk about science for a very quick few minutes. Science is someone having an idea that something is in a certain way, and they go looking for if that's the case, or they want to find out how something is and they go looking for it. It's a belief about something before it can be seen. And so someone does this research or studies or the science work and comes to a conclusion. This is what I see, they say, and they give it to someone else. And then that person has to, or that instance, whatever it is, have to do more research. Because even though this person has seen it, that other person still don't believe it because he or she hasn't seen it yet. And this is how it works. So everything that's discovered, everything that's understood about us as human beings, about how we function and how this universe functions, how this world functions, everything has to go through all these stages of people after people after people after people needing to see it before they can believe it. So no wonder where we as in our society has that mindset, because it's simply not allowed to be used or shared until it's been through all these different stages of person after person having to see it before it is believed. Well, this creates a problem because all this takes a lot of time. And by the time that it reaches the final stages of this, then something more has been discovered that can be tied in with this first discovery. And they hold off because, we have more information to add to this. And that's the way it goes. And our school books are completely outdated. How society works is outdated. Everything in our society is outdated because science in the last 20, 30 years have so much more understanding and knowledge about all of this, how we work, how we function, than is commonly known because we haven't been taught it yet. A lot of this information is available online. There are lots of people who talk about this that, like me, have made a decision to believe before someone else has seen it. I come across something when I read or when I watch a video or when I listen to someone that might have done a lot more research in a specific field that is, to me, feels like, I wonder about this. I want to learn a bit more about this. So what do? Well, I read a bit more, I learn a bit more, and then I go to myself and I look at myself and what about this is true in my life? How can I see this in my life? Because even I have this mindset that I have to see it before I can believe it. But I question it. Because I want to understand. It's more important to me to believe it than to see it. But I do love seeing it. And I'll tell you something. I have found in my life, in doing all this, that when I believe something before I see it, magic happens in my life. One way or another, magic happens in my life. I believed I could have the life I have before I had the life I have. Before that, I thought I had to see it first before I could believe it, and I never got it. I struggled. I was in pain. I was miserable. And then I'm here. Happy, healthy, thriving, having fun, loving what I do, loving my life, loving everybody in my life and everything in my life. Loving where I'm going, loving just everything is just love and appreciation in my life today. Because at some point I made the decision to start believing before I see more and more and more and more. So, where are you? The combination is good, but where are you? And what things in your life do you want to believe but cannot yet see? And do you dare to believe them right now before you can see them? That's it for today, and thank you for being here. I love you, and be good.